Hello, adventurers! My name is Chance. Welcome to my Spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning into the 20th episode of our background series. If you'd like to check out the series in its entirety, please feel free to check out the full playlist, either at the end of this video or up top in that little eye icon in the top right there. In any case, let's talk about the Fisher. So the Fisher is one of the 4 backgrounds added into 5e through the Ghosts of Saltmarsh release. Overall, it's an okay adventure module. I don't think it's all that popular though. Most dungeon masters I've spoken with don't have it, but I don't know, it seems to be written fine. I have it just through D&D Beyond, but overall, it offers 4 backgrounds, and to the best of my knowledge, not a lot of people know about them, so this should be pretty cool. The Fisher, in particular, is one of my favorites. In any case, let's dive into its description here. You have spent your life aboard fishing vessels or combing the shallows for bounty of the ocean. Perhaps you were born into a family of fisher folk working with your kin to feed your village. Regardless of how you began, you soon fell in love with the sea, the art of fishing, and the promise of the eternal horizon. Really cool stuff. Long story short, you like the ocean. Pretty cool stuff. However you want to spin that is up to you. Now let's take a look at its mechanics. Under skill proficiencies, you gain access to both history and survival, which are both incredibly useful in campaigns where you're going to be in the wilderness a lot. Under languages, you get one of your choice. And under equipment, you get fishing tackle, net, a favorite fishing lure, or oiled leather wading boots, a set of traveler's clothes, and a belt pouch containing 10 GP. In terms of just a quick commentary on this, I would assume that any fishing checks would just be survival checks, just to clear that up. I'm sure there's some official reading on it, but that makes logical sense. Now let's take a quick look at its feature here, or its official feature. It has another kind of sort of feature, but we will start with this one and then check out the other one in a bit. So its official feature is Harvest the Water. You gain advantage on ability checks made using fishing tackle. If you have access to a body of water that sustains marine life, you can maintain a moderate lifestyle while working as a fisher, and you can catch enough food to feed yourself and up to 10 other people each day. Which is super awesome if you're on a seafaring campaign or just anything to do with wilderness whatsoever. Completely removes that need for food, and well, I guess technically you can just keep spamming Goodberry over and over again. I would assume that this would be much more filling and, in general, a much preferred option. Now let's take a look at its secondary feature. This is an interesting one because although it's not officially a feature, it's worth going over nonetheless. This one is called Fishing Tale. You can tell a compelling tale, whether tall or true, to impress and entertain others. Once a day, you can tell your story to willing listeners. At the DM's discretion, a number of those listeners become friendly towards you. This is not a magical effect, and continued amicability on their part depends on your actions. Now, it might be worth noting that the book does offer quite a few suggestions on what your tale might be, and it does so using a D8 table. Some of them are kind of meh, but some of them are freaking hilarious. There's one called Ghost Fish, and it reads, you are haunted by a ghostly fish that only you can see. Now, I love the idea of of this character rolling poorly on an investigation or a perception check and describing the scene really clearly and vividly at first, and then saying something to the effect of, but just as you start to be able to clearly see the scene before you, you see a movement out of the corner of your eye. Is it? could it be? It's the ghost fish, and it occupies your vision and distracts you as you quake in fear as it swims towards you, unimpeded by objects or the air itself. I don't know, you can just really go ham with it. I think it's a really funny idea. There's another one called Nemesis Clam, and it reads, "A large clam containing a pearl the size of your head claimed one of your fingers before jetting away. One day you'll find that clam." I just think it's all hilarious. I think it's great stuff. In any case, that's kind of the secondary trait. Basically, you can tell a story once per day and a group of individuals will be favorable towards you at the end of it. Really nice stuff overall. The two features in general I find are quite fun and useful in their own right. Now let's quickly take a look at some suggested characteristics here. For the personality trait, I went with I laugh heartily, feel deeply, and fear nothing, except the ghostfish. Ideal, hard work. No wave can move a soul hard at work, and that applies to really any alignment. And bond, the gods saved me during a terrible storm, and I will honor their gift, just some sense of gratitude. And under flaw, I work hard but play harder. I do think these are relatively fine traits to have for just a simple fisherman, maybe thrown into the thralls of adventuring through one misfortune or another, or however you want to spin it. Now let's get to my personal thoughts on Fisher. I really do like this background. I think it works pretty good with most parties. There's really nice synergy in terms of both survivability as well as social interactions. And it likely scales pretty good as well. The food isn't limited by size of creature, which is quite nice. And the fishing tail doesn't have a DC or anything like that attached to it, so it's pretty safe to assume it'll only get better with time, or at the very least always remain just as relevant as it is at level 1. Outside of that, I don't know, the only real downside to this is I couldn't imagine the roleplay opportunities are intrinsically good just based off of the background, so there's a little bit more onus on the character to kind of try and liven up their character and put some more soul into them, because this background really doesn't do it for them like a lot of the other backgrounds we've discussed up until this point. That being said, it's quite well done overall. It might actually be the best of the Ghost of Saltmarsh backgrounds, at least as far as I can tell. I don't know, I really like the Ghostfish idea. I think it's so gosh darn hilarious. That being said, let me know what you think of Fisher down beneath in the comments section. Be sure to mention any thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns you may have regarding it. And if you'd like to get your hands on a free one-shot, please do check out the Guildhall and use code WELCOME. That being said, I hope all of you have a great day, and as always, happy adventuring, my friends.